I know what you're thinking. Why study history? All of that stuff has gone on in the past. It's about old people who are already dead. What does that have to do with me? Well, in this video, I'm going to try to give you some reasons and maybe help you a little bit with why you might want to do that. So let's see if we can find any uses for studying history. Okay, let's assume that you've come into a room and you're looking for a book that you've been reading. And you know when you come in the room, you know the book is, you left the book on this table. And you look on the table and you see the book is no longer there. Well, how do you find the book? Well, you go to your little brother and your little brother says, I don't know where your book is at. I'm pretty sure that I saw our sister with it. So your little brother says it is your sister who has the book. All right. So you go looking next for your sister. That's the next person you want to talk to. So you find your sister, and here's your sister, and you talk to her. And she says that last time she saw your book, your little brother was playing with the book. He was building some stuff on top of it. So she says that your brother has the book. So how do we figure this out? How are you going to find the book? Well, the book was taken when? The book was taken in the past. So in order to find your book, you need to find out what happened in the past. So you come, you look around, you have a problem, right? You cannot find the book, and the solution to that problem is in the past. Well, what does finding your book have to do with studying the past? Well, the truth is we live in the present, right? And when we look around in the present, we see problems, much like the missing book. We see poverty, we see corruption, we see crime, we see all kinds of different problems in the present. So the present has problems. Now, the best way to view the present is that we live on top of a very large building. And our building has problems. It has crime, it has corruption, it has all kinds of things going on in it. So let's think about that. We're on the top floor of a very large building. And it has many stories. So there's all kinds of different stories that are in this building, and there are many rooms that are in this building. And we live up here in the present, and we notice that there are some problems as we look around, right? Poverty, crime, and corruption. Now, what does the past have to do with these problems? Well, these bottom floors that we live on the top of were built by other people. They were built by other people. So this was built in the past. And depending upon what they put here, right, what they built into this area, it's going to affect, right, the way we live today. So things that are built on the bottom floors have an effect of things that are on the top floors. Now, why would you want to go back and find out what happened on those bottom floors? Well, here's what happens, is that when we start trying to find solutions for poverty, crime, corruption, or other things that are going on in the present, wars between countries, things like that, very often people go back to the past to look for the causes. They go back down into this building, they go back down to look and see what is down there. The problem is that when we go back, what you're going to find is that different people tell different stories about what happened on those other floors. So as you get down there, much like your little brother and sister, you're going to hear different stories from people. One person's going to tell you one thing that happened on that floor. Another person's going to tell you another thing that happened on that floor. Is it important to figure out what actually happened, to find out who's telling the truth? Right? As best as we can find it. Well, it does make a difference. Just like with your brother and sister, if you don't find out the truth of who has the book, you will not find your book. And you need to investigate that. The same is true with the problems that we face in the present. They were caused, used often by things that were built in the past, and we need to go back as best we can, ask some tough questions, and try to find out what really happened. The problem is when we hear different stories, the problem is how do we figure out who is telling the truth? How do we know whether person 1 or person 2 or maybe person 3, 4, or 5, how do we know that their stories are telling us what actually happened back here? Well, in our next video, we're going to look at some ways in which that we can begin to learn to ask some good questions to find out the truth about the past.